Alrighty, so today's video is the beginning of a series called Every Ship Has Its Place, and we'll be starting off with the Aurora. A ship that a lot of new players seem to complain about, where they tend to argue that, other people have things like vanguards, cutlasses, sabers, you name it, right? If it's not the Aurora, then it's somewhere better. And to them, they feel like that they really can't do much with that little ship. Well, in all honesty, the Aurora is the little ship that could. Despite its 5 variants not having that many differences, this little ship can definitely get you places without worrying too much about losing so much. And in an org setting, they will definitely deploy these things for recon, sending out small caches of supplies to ground troops, being a part of fighter fleets, and even training new troops in dogfighting. Even though there are other ships that can do a much better job than the Aurora, it's still viable because it's cheaper and you can have a lot more of them going to many different places at the same time. Now, what about on an individual scale? How would a lone player effectively use an Aurora to get by and probably save up some money to get something more to their liking later on? They can't exactly do much about space combat because, especially when armor is added in, size 1 guns aren't really going to do much to a lot of things, to be honest. So what then? How does the average Aurora player on their own manage to get by and survive in the verse? Well, they have options. A lot of people probably emphasize right now that it would probably be best to join an org. However, what if this person wants to just do everything on their own and they don't want to be part of the org environment? The thing is, they have to start small. And for that, when it comes to bounty hunting, for example, you're best not fighting space targets, but just working on ground targets instead. Same thing goes for mercenary work. And as for pirating, you can get really sneaky, right? You don't need a big combat ship and set up a blockade to, take things from people. You can always just go to a very well-known mining location and just wait for one guy to leave his door open before you just jump in there, steal his ship, and go sell a bunch of stuff. Or, hold people for ransom and be like, hey, pay up and I'll let you go. If anything, you could also band together with other Aurora owners with a common goal in mind. You guys want to be traders? Go for that. You want to be pirates? Do that. You want to be bounty hunters? Do that as well, right? Just work together, collectively do smaller jobs and earn money together, and then you can buy yourselves a bigger ship and share it between each other. Obviously that would require a lot of trust, but if you have people like that, then yeah, that's another option for you. But to be fair, some of you may say that I have not been clear enough with figuring out a means as to do it right now. Because down the line, we could always keep talking about like all the new stuff that would come out and how that would come into play. But what can the Aurora owner do right now to start making money in the verse? The first thing people will point you towards is the delivery missions. You can just pick them. They pay about 2-3k each, probably take a few minutes to do, and you can complete. Or you can do any missions where you go out and look at wrecks, find dead crew members. Those pay out anywhere between 10 to 20k depending. But what if you want to make more money? What if you want to do stuff like the big bounty hunters do, where they make about 50k for killing a hammerhead, right? You're obviously not going to be able to do that in an Aurora, okay? Let's be honest. But if you have gotten your bearings, you know how to fly, you know how to shoot, and you're just sitting there I need to make money right now, okay? You understand the game. There is the 890 mission. When you accept the Call to Arms Mercenary mission and complete the 890 mission, you're getting about 45 to 50, 60k, depending on completing the whole job. But that's a tall order, you must be saying. Well, to prove a point, I rented an Aurora and didn't modify it at all. It's the basic CL version with 2 ballistic cannons, and it only took me 2 attempts to finish it. And the only reason why it took me 2 attempts was on the first time round I actually got into the 890, my Aurora was fine, but I kind of botched things up a little bit and died. I had all my gear as well. I actually had all my proper gear. Second time round, however, I did things a little differently. I went even more bare metal with my equipment. I ditched my heavy armor, I ditched all the fancy guns and consumables and ammunition and you name it, I just ditched all of that. And then I said, okay, well, what can a new player do with just bare minimum, right? Just, they've gone around, they've done a couple of missions and they have 10, 20k on their hands. What can I do with that? Well, here's what I did. First thing, I went down the center mass in Area 18. I bought an F-55 LMG with a Delta Reflex sight and 3 magazines of ammunition. Then I popped downstairs to Cubby Blasts and bought a couple of Medi pens, a Pyro multi-tool, and the tractor beam attachment. This only sent me back about 3,800 UEC. Then I put all my gear on, got on the Aurora, and set off. I accepted the 890 mission and a call to arms, and when I got there I encountered an M50. Now last time around it was 2 cutlasses, I was only able to kill 1 before I ran out of ammo, but if you're able to blow out the hangar doors or if they're already open on the 890, just get in there and then the AI will have a very hard time shooting you. This is very handy with the Aurora because it can fit in that hangar bay very easily. Now once you're in, do be careful that there are friendlies inside the 890 and they'll be wearing white armor, while the pirates would have their pirate armor. And once you start killing a few of them and clear a room, you can grab their armor and put it on you. Do also note, however, that these guys tend to move around and they do hide in very weird places, including on the outside of the 890, which you may have to hop in your Aurora and have a look around for them. Once you're done, you can bring out your multi-tool and start moving some of these guys over into the inside of your Aurora, where you can then loot them, store some of their armor and gear in the Aurora, and then pile a couple more bodies and take them back with you to a station where you can just store them for the time being. Now within the next few updates, there will probably be a means to sell all this armor, and for the time being you can still make use of it in case you die due to some accident or glitch. Sure, you'll look like a pirate, but free armor is free armor. Plus, with all that extra UEC, you'll be able to upgrade your Aurora so things become easier and easier, get better gear so you can clear that 890 mission faster, and in the long run, you can get yourself a new ship. Essentially, the Aurora's place in the verse is to be a beginner ship, a risk-free ship, a ship that gets you from A to B, does a little bit of everything, and is easy to understand and manage. But yeah, that was the first episode of Every Ship Has Its Place. Feel free to comment down below as to which ship I should make a video on next, like and subscribe to help the channel grow, and yeah, that's all from me. Ciao for now.